All right, guys. This video, I told you. I don't know how many videos ago that I put out. It's probably, I think it was in the last 10 about how me and a buddy of mine, after we were out of high school, we joined the army or I thought we joined the army together on the buddy system until I found out he couldn't pass the test, the written test. And we went down, did the whole thing all in one day, test, physical, and swearing in. And they separated us the minute we both got there because they didn't want us to know the other one had failed until we got through it all and we were already sworn in. And that's where I lost. My buddy couldn't pass the written test. He sat there waiting on me because I was the one that drove us down there. And but when I come out, I guess we're in the army now. I couldn't pass the written test. And what? Because we were going buddy system, Green Beret, anything we could get. We wanted to, we wanted to jump out of the planes and shit. Airborne infantry 100%. We were 100% going infantry, but whatever else we could do after that. Now, I signed all the papers before I found out old Buddy couldn't even pass the written test. That's old man. That's what's happened to this old man. But so after I found out he couldn't pass the test, I went back in because I'd done signed papers to do airborne, Green Beret. I'm doing it all. I done signed the papers, swore in, held my hand up and swore in on it. Then when they told me, oh, well, your buddy didn't make it, I turned around, I went back in there and I said, all right, well, hell with that airborne infantry, Green Berets shit. Give me something that I ain't got to get off the ground anyway. And they said, well, what we'll do is we got an opening in Lance Missile Crewman. I'm like, that's all right. Hell, I'm good with that. What the hell is that? They said, you'll be driving a semi, you'll be driving a tractor, semi tractor trailer with a nuclear warhead missile on the trailer. Because they knew I could drive I could drive a semi truck. That's what they're talking about when I say tractor, semi truck. And on the trailer was a nuclear warheaded missile that we would set up and send off if need be. This is back in 1982 during the Cold War, folks. I ain't lying to you. Uh, when I got into basic, they lined it up for me. That's what I was going to be. I even had to, they cleared my name, my background, everything about me in order to have top security clearance in order to operate a nuclear warheaded missile and the computer system that it took to set the thing up because it'd be laying flat on the back of a semi trailer and we'd do the computer shit and it would stand up. We'd put the launch codes and everything in it and then it would take off. That's what I was. Well, I really never was because I didn't get through basic training. Uh, by the time I got into Fort Sills, and that's if you don't believe this, anything else I say, believe the fact that Fort Sills, Oklahoma, is infantry. I assure you of that. And they flew my butt in to Dallas from Indianapolis, Indiana, on a commercial plane. They flew us from Dallas into Fort Sill on about a 20 or maybe 30-man plane. This is how it flew in. That's how we flew in to Fort Sill. Now, this was in December 82. Look it up. It was the coldest winter that they had ever had in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, in that area, in Texas. Or Oklahoma, I mean, not Texas. Oh, man, shit. But in that area, it was the coldest it had been in over 100 years. The only people allowed on the base to even go outside or to drive around on the roads, I mean, was only the MPs and emergency vehicles. It was so cold that they just shut the whole place down for, I don't know, 2 weeks or something like that. Only the MPs and emergency vehicles were allowed out on any streets inside the base. And outside it, I don't know what they were doing, but we weren't allowed to do nothing outside, basically. And but before that, before this cold set in, I think it was December or January when this deep cold set in. You'll have to look it up on record, folks. It is on record in Oklahoma, Fort Sill, Oklahoma, in 1982 in December. Cold. And I was there. Well, the first couple of weeks that I think I was in there, maybe a month, or no, it wasn't a month. It was probably the first couple of weeks that we were there. The weather wasn't that bad, so they just had us with heavy coats and heavy clothing on, and we were still doing the same things anybody else would have done, even if it was a little bit warmer. But it was cold. It was Oklahoma. And by this time, they, with all this heavy clothing on and shit, folks, my lungs and my heart, I couldn't do it. I physically couldn't do it. And finally, I had one of my drill sergeants. They had us out running, and I was supposed to be able to make a mile, I think, at a certain time. And when I had to do the physical, I was able to do the right time. But once I got into basic training, I couldn't even come close to it. And this guy thought I was quitting, that I was just a quitter and shit. And he was giving me a hard time, and finally I looked at him and I said, "You come over here and feel my heart rate right now." Because I was telling him, man, my heart's I'm pounding so bad that I can't take a breath. And it was. And this drill sergeant came over, and he put his hand on my wrist. And he was standing there counting. That's how fast it was beating. And he goes, oh my God, sit down. Well, that's what I was trying to tell you. It was more than I could do. So they had to. He sent me over to medical. And by then it was all calmed down and everything. And so I'm kind of telling them what I was, I didn't know of the things that I was born with other than asthma. But they said, no, this is something wrong with your heart, son. It's not just your breathing, it's your heart. And So they said, look, you got to go home. And I said, all right, let's do it, And they're like, well, and then all of a sudden this deep cold come in. They had the damn airports, everything shut down. They couldn't just make me leave. They make me leave the base. That I couldn't get a ride out. That there wasn't nothing allowed on the roads inside the base. I was kind of trapped because I really wasn't still under their orders now. I've already been under doctor's orders now that I'm going to be released medically. Nobody can really do anything to me. I'm going home. And I still smoked. So, well, everybody else, they had to be trapped in the barracks and stuff. I could get out and go do things because I wasn't under the same orders they were anymore. So I went, and it was cold inside the barracks, man. I didn't like laying under that wool blanket trying to stay warm and shit, or wearing all them jackets. I went into the laundry room. Now, there was about, I would say at least 7, I'd say maybe 10 dryers, 7 to 10 dryers somewhere. It was bad, people. That was how many years ago? 90, I think, somewhere around 90 years ago. I can't remember all this shit. You're going to have to help me out a little bit. But there was 7 or 8, 10 dryers in there. And 7, 8, 10 washers in there, washing machines in there. Washing with the R, not without. There was just as many washing machines in there as well. Well, it being the coldest it had ever been in Oklahoma, this was a small laundromat because we would only be allowed a few down at a time to do laundry, so there wouldn't be a bunch of fighting and shit. So certain people were only allowed to do them at certain times. Well, at this point, they had a bunch of people doing a bunch of other things inside buildings that I couldn't do. So I went in the laundromat, the laundry room. I turned every dryer on in there because it wasn't that warm to me. Turned them all on. They were all in a straight line. Got them all running gas, man. They were heating the room up fast. I got a little tired. 7, 8, 10 of them. I jumped up, stretched out across the top of the dryers. These are all brand new dryers. In 1982 in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, they had what they called World War II barracks, and they had an area called, I think it was Hollywood. Well, I was in Hollywood. I ain't lying to you, people. This stuff can be looked up. I am not lying to you. I was in the Hollywood section. This shit was all brand new. I jump up on them heaters. I'm like, stretched out. Vibration. I went right to sleep. I was back home in Greenwood, Indiana. In my dreams. Back in my bed. The one I slept in before I got here, I was right there laying on top of all them dryers. I don't know, it was probably only 4 of them, if I'm lucky. I was only 5'7", but there were 6 to 10 of them. Had them all running. I fell asleep and was loving life. Well, no matter, even if I was going home, that was still illegal on the base. You couldn't be doing that. One of the, I think it was private first class or somebody come in and saw me. And they wanted to get me in trouble. They went and called their drill sergeant. He coming. He's looking around. I'm sleeping good. I'm at home in Greenwood, Indiana. They're all in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I ain't lying to you. That's where I was. They went and gathered up about, 15, maybe 20. I couldn't see anybody when I came off the top of that dryers. But they were all gathered around me. Dryers running, you know that sound. Nobody's making a noise coming in there. There's a bunch of them. I'm vibrating. I'm in Greenwood, Indiana. Boom! Get the fuck off my dryers, boy. Get the fuck up. And I came up off them dryers, I know, probably 2 feet. While I was laid out. Just from what? I'm back in Fort Sill, Oklahoma, in the military. I land up and all these, we got drill sergeants, we got lieutenants. I think there was a colonel and a general or two in there. They just come in there just all to be a part of it. I think somebody, or maybe there's several of them that were recording it, or maybe there was a camera in that place. Because I know I came up off that and I'm thinking, and everybody screaming at me, get the fuck out of my room. This is my laundry. This ain't your laundry. This is mine. Get the fuck. And I was dead asleep. And I get up and I'm walking out and I'm like, it almost feels like you're waking up from a hard drunk. That's how good I was sleeping. And these guys, they scared the crap out of me. But they couldn't do nothing. Other than that, just yell at me and scare the hell out of me. That was all they could do. They'd already pulled me. They couldn't do nothing but just freak me out like that, and that's what they did. And I shook their hands after I was done. I was like, man, you scared, you guys, man, I didn't crap myself, but I could, it was close. God loves you guys. I love you. If you don't listen to my story all the way through, you missed half of it. Jesus couldn't love you any more than what he did for you. He couldn't love you anymore. If you're not seeking him. You're wasting your time. Till next time, guys. I love you. These are my stories. Somebody write them down. I don't have time. Love you.